So this is the Chinese restaurant here in Houston, and they are getting some dragon port. Instead of transport, they have a dragon port. Whatever that is written in Chinese, I guess it's the same. But it very much looks like a lorry or a truck, as some non-English speakers are calling it. We call it lastbil in Swedish, but a little bit cute name, Dragon Port. And welcome to today's video. Now this will be repeated a little bit before the video starts. So this is the Chinese restaurant here in Houston, and they are getting some dragon port. Hello there, English speakers, and welcome to the sun, actually. So that's rare. And here you see a big line of ball willows that are crack willows that grow here in the Jones Park. And here you see some linden, and of course the white ones are birches. So we will talk about some blind spots, fake news, fake memes, and maybe something about Yule, as we call it, Christmas here up in the Nordic countries. But let's start by taking a big, deep breath. Nice with sun, but it makes it a little bit tricky to record, as the sun is very low and might shine so that I don't shine. But we'll see. You know the story about Titanic. So it was filled with a lot of rich people, very powerful billionaires that were against the Federal Reserve. And JP Morgan, on the other hand, that were very pro the Federal Reserve, as he works for the Rothschilds. He decided to take the next boat. But as Titanic was filled with anti-central bankers, do you think it was hit by an Iceowitz, an ice stein, or maybe an iceberg? So that's the three leading conspiracy theories, that it was some of these ice people, I guess. Middle East. Why is it the center of the destabilization of the world, basically? There is an old map that was made over 10 years ago, explaining where you have the powers of production, where you have the raw materials, etc. And you see that everything kind of center around West Asia and neighboring countries in Africa. And how to solve this and make it stable, that is by giving Iran the nuclear bomb, according to some logic from Kenneth N. Waltz. So I found that an interesting take, at least. Candace Owens' talk with Erika wasn't as exciting as it sounded. The most shocking, maybe, is that Turning Point USA, they don't have any information that isn't public when it comes to what happened during the murder of Charlie Kirk. So they have based their totally sure that Tyler Robinson did it. They based that on the same bullshit as everyone else has seen. So that's weird. And they did sort out some miscommunications, and Kenneth Owens got to see the phone logs for different persons and, well, straighten out. People were basically saying wrong things, which is annoying, but now all this, a lot of details that I don't think really matters, except that we noticed that they weren't lying, they were just, well, being wrong and confusing. In South Africa, in Johannesburg, there was some harassment of staff working for USA, and they were trying to help people who want to flee, the Boers who wants to flee South Africa, and they got harassed by the authorities. There seemed to be no big problem with it, and they got back to processing people who wants to move to USA as refugees. But imagine if someone else takes over after Trump, and South Africa, their regime, can do whatever they want. Then it might be very bad. The reason that they go after these offices are, of course, that people fleeing South Africa will make South African government look bad, and these tyrants they don't like to look bad, so they rather destroy and look even worse when they are doing that. UK, you don't have to wonder how bad the censorship is. If you want to read your own Substack in UK, you have to upload evidence with your ID and your face, so that you can prove that you're actually over 16 or whatever the age is. It doesn't matter, because the idea is to make Substack bad, while you can read the exactly same things if you go in on some official mainstream media. But if you read it on Substack, forget it without problems. So that's a bad behavior as usual. And we have a awful journalist that constantly get promoted by Elon Musk, and now he's saying that you can't buy pepper spray in Sweden. That's as usual of his reporting. It's not fully correct. It's correct that you can't buy all kinds of pepper sprays, but there are sprays, defensive sprays, that you are allowed to buy, and they do not count as weapons. So why don't Elon Musk promote me? Instead, I got more and more locked out of X, so now I can't even read on X, despite that I paid them 4,230 crowns for 1 year that they took from me while refusing to, they just locked me out basically. So I will see if I can contact the authorities on Ireland that are fighting for digital rights, and I will warn X as soon as I can send in another report. I will rather shut X down in Europe and find them into pieces if they are continuing to do this treatment of me. I think that X is doing good things for humanity, but if I'm not allowed to be part of humanity, screw them. That's my take on it. And still, can you help anyone who has Elon Musk's attention to tell Elon Musk that I should be unbanned and compensated for their behavior? Brian Dawson, who did this excellent 4-hour documentary about 9/11, he is having severe Kenneth Owens derangement syndrome. So he blames Kenneth Owens for doing false accusations of Israel's false flags. I've listened to Kenneth Owens. She has never said that Israel have done any false flags that aren't, the ones who are proven, like USS Liberty, etc. So I have no idea what he's babbling about, and he calls her a moron, which is, dumb. And if he had a real problem with something that she pushes, then he would say, she said this, and this is demonstrably wrong because, but he doesn't. He called her a moron, and that she is just spreading dumb stuff. Yeah, she do a lot of theories that might be wrong, and she wants to know about stuff that maybe isn't that important, etc. And I do agree with that a lot of very stupid stuff, like for example saying that there were no planes that flew into World Trade Center. That's idiotic. And now there is another thing that actually Iceowitz were saying that no, she will not believe in this bullshit. So there is a theory that Charlie Kirk got electrocuted. That makes no sense whatsoever, and why? Maybe, but that doesn't explain the hole in his neck and the expanding body that fits perfectly well with a shot from above. So that why invent something else? Maybe it was not a bullet that hit him, maybe it was an invisible thing, because that explains nothing more. Eva Vladinga-Brock is criticizing European Union for having some blah blah about housing affordability, while the European Union is doing mass immigration that is making housing not affordable. So who does this? She should point out the Jewish organizations and the Jews in the organizations, and how Jewish media are controlled by Jews. Exactly who are they? You can't blame, for example, Netanyahu. As far as I know, he hasn't pushed for mass immigration into Europe. He's pushing refugees from all the countries where he's starting wars. That you can blame him for, and you should do that. But if you just list all these organizations and then you tell all the Jews that are, against mass immigration, and mostly they hate Muslims because they want to murder them, and they want Muslims to hate Christians. So they like to do that, but then you can just point at them. No, I'm not interested in, your message of no immigration. You should tell your Jewish mass immigration Jews about that, and then they can fight it out, and maybe we can defund them. Some other conspiracy theories about Kurt Cobain. He was shot with a shotgun, and they say that he had a lot of heroin in his blood, too much for him to be conscious. So that was maybe a murder. So there are many conspiracy theories about this, and the police work was fast and suspicious. He was very leftist, though, according to fact checkers, and he was distrustful of billionaires. He never predicted that Trump should become the president. That's a fake Trump meme from 1916, according to fact checkers, and there is no proof that he said in an interview or something anything about Trump or that. He did distrust, what's it called, Perot, the other billionaire trying to become the president, which made it possible for Bill Clinton to become the president. Or was it Bush? I don't care. But there are a lot of accusations against Courtney Love. But Courtney Love have given her version of the history, and that's a lot of details, how she was drugged as a little child, and when you see Kanye West and all other whistleblowers, or whatever to call them, how they treat celebrities as slaves, and they, I mean the Jewish mafia and CIA, that are basically creating the celebrity. and then they expect the celebrity to be an obedient slave. So if you're interested in having anything to do with these kind of businesses, you should probably look into Courtney Love, and she was talking to Kenneth Owens and having some messages with her. There have been a long series of false flags from Israel, as I've been talking about. The Lavon affair, when Israelis were doing a lot of terror against Jews in Egypt to, well, make them move to Israel and to start wars. And you have the Baghdad bombings in 1950, 1951, and of course the King David failed false flag. So it turned out very obviously that it was Zionist terrorists dressed as Arabs. But now there is, I think, a pretty dumb false accusation that this Navid Akram, who was one of the shooters at Bondi Beach, he looks pretty much like David Cohen, that is a proud Jewish Israeli, and they don't look exactly the same, I would say. There are different forehead, and even though they are similar, no, I don't think so. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this. I think that Navid Akram was recruited by ISIS, that is Mossad, and then carried out the false flag without being an Israeli Jew. And I often say that you should never use not. Do you think that I listen to myself? Of course I don't sometimes, because it's convenient and you just say that you are against this, and then you should have reframed it. But I was trying to prove a point there, that this New Testament, it would be really absurd. I mean, if you hear the disciples, if they are discussing, was it really correct of Jesus to rape a child of this age? If it was, a 3-year-old, then it would have been okay if our Lord were raping the 3-year-old, but now it was a 9-year-old. And then Paul actually explains that no, if the Son of God rapes someone, then of course that person haven't aged, so that's the same as raping a 3-year-old. These discussions are what they are having in the Talmud. So even there are plenty of rabbis that are babbling there, and they are saying that no, you should not rape children. But others say that yeah, some children you can rape, so that's totally okay. Why are those things even there? That's what you can think about. What I learned here, that I got a new friend after discussing this. He totally misread me and missed the knot, and my point totally missed him. He just had to reread it, and then he, of course, agreed with me. But yeah, be prepared to, if you say very clearly you think that it's not this, people will not hear it anyway. So even if you force them to type in, yes, I did read that you were not this, then they will forget that. I think I said the wrong saint when it comes to the St. Edward's Church. These two yews that are growing at the entrance, but that's called St. Edward's Church. And I noted that they kept these old traditions of sort of worshipping the trees. This donor oak, though, I did some digging into that when there was a so-called Christian grifter or saint, and he went to Germania and he chopped down this donor oak, and in that way he defeated the heathens that had to abandon their faith. It doesn't seem that anyone in Germania cared about this oak, if it was even cut down. We have no evidence of that. What we have evidence of are a lot of Christian writers that were trying to compete on how fantastic this event was, how many angels and God and whatever was there at this moment, and so on. So that we have evidence of, but it seems to be a fairy tale basically, and it was only propaganda that was useful inside of the church when they were fighting each other, and it didn't affect the people in Germany or the Germanic lands, as far as we know. But we like to keep old traditions, we Germanic people. So we don't celebrate Christmas, we celebrate what we call Yule. And on Iceland, they don't have one Santa Claus, they have 13 that are coming. And when you hear about what they are doing, those Santas, you will scream out, Jesus Christ. And no, he's not involved in their celebrations at all. So we have kept traditions that are very much pre-Christian, but they are still just like the Jews at the St. Edward's Church. They are still there, and we still admire these Nordic helmets with big horns on them. And if you think that those are Viking helmets, well, they are 2000 years older. They were from the Bronze Age. They are called the Växjöhjälmarna, if you speak your Danish. So they were found on Zealand in east of Denmark. And the more before, the better we were, especially during the Bronze Age. So now, you know, we have old traditions that are predating Christianity. Let's not talk about the human sacrifice and that stuff, but we kept better stuff, I think, like 13 Santas that sounded partly awful. I've linked to a video explaining a little bit in 1 minute in a funny way. But with that, have a nice Christmas and nice sunny day.